Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for a direct-to-YouTube special. So I'm taking a baby little vacation at the tail end of this week. I've rented a cabin out in the middle of the woods somewhere, and my girlfriend and I are going to go and escape, but I wanted to keep the magic content flowing, so I'm going to try to record a video or two to keep you entertained while I'm gone and to make up for the fact that I'm not streaming. So, well, you see what's going on here. We're trying out a direct from Japan special. We're going to try to play Yorion Birthing Pod combo. So this is a deck that's literally too big for a stream. Like, I can't even get the whole thing on screen. There's some windswept heaths hanging out at the bottom that you can't see. So the general idea is that this is the ultimate value town deck. We have a lot of the normal blue-green X good stuff. Like Astrolabe, Icefang, Coatl, Oko. But then most of the other top end is Blink stuff, which can ultimately end in Kiki-Jiki combo. So we can Kiki-Jiki combo off with Corridor Monitor, Deceiver Exarch, Beldar Guardian, and Restoration Angel. So we can make infinite creatures and then crash in while also maybe doing some other cool stuff. And since we have things at 2, 3, 4, and 5 that are relevant, we can set up some really cool birthing pod chains. There's a lot of good value-oriented stuff along the way, like Renegade Rallier. So if you, say, pod away your Icefang Coatl into a Renegade Rallier, you can then get the Icefang Coatl right back with the Renegade Rallier, which is super, super cool. We have some answers that we can pod into. So we can pod an Icefang Coatl into a Skyclave Apparition, or maybe a Knight of Autumn if we have a problematic artifact or enchantment we need to deal with. Otherwise, if we start podding into things like Omnoth and Huntmaster, we probably end up going bigger than a lot of other decks in the format relatively quickly. And if all our fun stuff fails, we can just play turn 1 Noble Hierarch into turn 2 Oko and just win games that way, because, you know, still 2020, so that plan's still good. And spoilers, I think it's going to be good into 2021 as well. As far as the sideboard there, the really notable thing is the Yorion, right? That's our companion. And that's what's going to tie together the deck and allow us to blink all of these cool targets once again for even more insane value. So we are real high up on the greed train here. Technically, we're a 5-color deck. We do have a black card in Surgical Extraction, but we're really a 4-color deck. There are some neat bullets in the sideboard, like Aethersworn Canoness and Peacekeeper, but for the most part, this is the sort of stuff that you would expect to see in one of these decks anyway. So if you're excited about this sort of content and you want to see more direct-to-YouTube stuff in the future, please consider liking the video and subscribing if you aren't already. And let's go ahead and jump into this matches and see how this ridiculous deck performs. Round 1, it looks like I have a kind of like reasonable opening hand, so I'm going to keep this. I think as long as like we have lands and spells, I don't really get to mulligan all that frequently with this deck in game 1 when I don't know what my opponent is doing. I think I just need to keep a critical density of cards. Alright. Here we go. So we're going to start on this Noble Hierarch, and that is going to fix our mana. We can play the Voice of Resurgence if that's going to be something that's good. Doesn't really look like it. Yeah, your Chalice is fine. It shuts off my Brainstorm, but eh. Spellseeker can go get the Ephemerate, which is its primary job. How do I beat down as hard as possible? Because that's really what I want to do this game. Is it just play the Voice of Resurgence, and then I can be attacking for 3? Or is it play Icefang Coatl, which lets me cantrip into something else? I think Playing Ice Fang Coatl this turn, draw a card, into Felidor Guardian next turn, draw a card is pretty good, because our opponent's not really going to cast stuff during my turn. I am going to go ahead and just sorcery speed this Ice Fang Coatl. In case I was going to say in case I draw a 1-drop, but I guess that doesn't make sense, right? Chalice of the Void is a thing. So let's battle. We didn't use our mana, like, maximum efficiently there, but the Spellseeker getting the Ephemerate isn't exactly insane. I guess it could have gotten a Force of Will. I guess I also theoretically need another land. Ooh. Human, huh? So I'm starting to miss land drops, which is not good. This may just be a time to play a Sylvan Library rather than more creatures. I think as long as I hit lands and work towards Yorion, that, what is it, 4 power in the air probably closes out this game pretty easily. My opponent could be on a white Stompy deck. They could be on, like, some sort of opposition agent Stompy deck. Okay. That's not super spooky. I can have a good amount of power in play, so Mycosynth Lattice doesn't just end me. Oh, Skyclave Apparition is actually a great draw. Let's go ahead and put that on top of Library. I will take the other two. We'll junk the Karn that they got no value out of. Can't play 1-drops effectively. And then I'll just send in the Ice Fang Coatl. The deck building cost of Ancient Tomb, just, like, very, very clear here. Oh, wow, a Signet. That's interesting. There is a world where my opponent has a flash creature. So I'm going to go ahead and attack with this. Then something like an Aven Mind Sensor doesn't trade with it in combat. I can play Voice of Resurgence and Spellseeker, or I can play Voice of Resurgence and put the Yorion into my hand. I guess the Spellseeker doesn't really do anything. It gets these cards, but this only gets CMC 2 or less. I also could just play Felidor Guardian. I have 2, 3, 4, 5. But if I play both of these, then I have lethal attacks next turn, which I don't have right now. Okay. guess my opponent could also have something like Cast Out. Hmm. I guess, technically, because of pitching to Force of Will, the Brainstorms are better than the things like Ephemerate. Oh, LED. Does my opponent actually Bomberman? Oh, okay, so I just die here. So in case you're not familiar with the combo, Auriok Salvagers returns LED, that loops infinitely, and then they net mana so that they can eventually cast a Walking Ballista and kill me. Alright, I'm just going to concede rather than make them click through it. Well played. Moto, please. Thank you, Moto. Alright, so... don't know that we're really sideboarding for this matchup. A lot of our sideboard cards are really kind of targeted. I might play, like, Lothus, Surgical, and a Library, and cut some of my random stuff. The thing is that Surgical gets caught up in Chalice of the Void, and sometimes the Bomberman combo can just play around a Surgical completely. So that's something to keep in mind. I guess Renegade Rallier is eh. They're probably not killing my stuff most of the time. So maybe I can go like a Karmic Guide out, a Renegade Rallier out. I guess Voice of Resurgence is just a 2/2. So that can go out. Do I just shave one pod because I'm using my mana to just cast stuff that impacts the board most of the time? I don't hate that. Let's try this. Aethersworn Canonist, not quite what we're looking for here. I would like to play first. I reveal my fancy card. So this hand has a Force of Will and a Brainstorm to save it, but I can't Brainstorm then shuffle. This might just be a mulligan. Let's find something a little more objectively powerful. Yeah, this'll do fine. So I'll bin the second Oko here and keep this 6-card hand. The mulligans sting a little bit less when you have something like this as endgame. So it's just a bomb later on after I've flooded out or otherwise run out of gas. And it can potentially give me a bunch of ETB blink value. It's not as crazy as it is in some decks, but it's still probably pretty good here. I'm just going to get Chaliced on one. Yep. All right. Rip Surgical. I think I'm just going to work towards this having Death Touch. So is my opponent going to lose their City of Traders this turn? Guess that's kind of the big question right now. They are. So that tells me that they either have another Soul Land or... Oh? Or Signet. Sure. No covered everything. Alright, so I'll get Island with this one, and Forest with this one. Play this. Now I have a Death Toucher. I will play Obnoxious Elkmaker. And I think this Chalice of the Void needs to go. That turns on both my Surgical Extraction and my Swords to Plowshares. And then hopefully I end up with a blue card for Force of Will, and then I have a very nice safety net. I can even just put Yorion into my hand if I need to next turn to just, like, have a blue card. Some of the stuff can't be countered, but that's okay. Alright, your Karn resolves. I think I'm just saving that for Force of Will reasons. Am I using a Swords to Plowshares on Chalice of the Void and then attacking Karn for 3? I think I am. That's probably the line that results in me dying to random Mycosynth Lattice sort of stuff the lowest percentage of the time. I'm going to go ahead and put this in my hand. I don't think I need to leave the Brainstorm mana up. I think I'm just going to protect this Planeswalker and then be pretty good to go. It has 7 available mana. What do they have? I think with Surgical and Force of Will, I end up beating the combo. They use 4 to cast their thing. Giving them 6 total mana. Alright, they found a Walking Ballista. I kind of like Force of Willing this and then extracting it, if I'm being honest. This means that I also kill the Karn, and that's not a problem for later. Means I'm a little more shields down. But I think since this is also going to insulate me from the combo, this is fine. Alright, so let's start with murdering Karn, because that is always, always, always happening. Then let's make the plan. Actually, I guess I can do this extraction in my opponent's draw step if I am willing to wait. Don't think there's anything that's going to punish me for doing that. Go ahead and make a food token. I'm going to play Yorion and not blink Ice Fang. I think the damage that I represent is pretty great. The next turn I just hit for 10 as opposed to hitting for 7. Because if I hit for I hit for 7, then I hit for 10. Still a 2-turn block if opponent taps Ancient Tomb. I'm gonna go ahead and not blink. Just confirm. I did that. Yep. Get those Walking Ballistas out of the deck. This will also give us a read on our opponent's deck list. Hull Breachers. That's awfully spicy. Well. Actually, hold on. Can I pop out these zones and then get everything? This is the sort of thing that Brian would probably really like to play. Alright, so I got all of the Walking Ballistas. Okay. Oh, that doesn't keep my opponent's hand revealed. Whoops. I've got it in a screenshot, it's fine. So my opponent can technically play a couple of Hull Breachers here, but I think the plan is just battle. They can trade a Hull Breacher for an Ice Fang Coatl or a food token. I think I'm fine if they trade. So I guess they're going to play towards some sort of echo-based line. I'll still play out the Sylvan Library even if I can't really use it right now. I already activated this, so I'm good. Could potentially exchange like my food for their Hull Breacher too. They also tapped in a way which doesn't allow them to Hull Breacher again. This is a Merfolk Pirate. We're not gonna do that. Okay, how does the wording of this work? The exiled card's owner. Okay. I guess I can't cast this. I'm gonna attack with everything. And then I'll react based on what my opponent does. This is fine. I can now Elk Urza and kill Urza. My opponent is willing to take 2 to put another Hull Breacher into play. Yeah, they're just gonna let that go. So the exchange isn't bad. Like I just take their Hull Breacher. But it might just be better to Elk Urza, because that will kill Urza. Urza will have 3 damage on it and die. Then they don't get to spin the wheel. Then they don't get to tap other artifacts for mana. Got him. Again, I'm not super worried about like Hull Breacher shutting off Sylvan Library. Like maybe I should be more worried about that, but I'm okay with living the life of a white mage here, where I just like play with the top card that's on top of my library. I've effectively shut off Ancient Tomb already. My opponent is staring down this big dumb planeswalker. They don't have any flyers. I don't know. Maybe I'm not playing around the disaster case scenario enough. One, two, three, four, five. Is this an Urza? Leaving a colored mana floating? Signets are kind of a pain in the butt on Magic Online, so like not faulting opponent here if it takes them a minute to tap everything properly. All right, so do they have to just cast out my Yorion? They do. We will not be doing that. No. I'm gonna go ahead and send in this Ice Fang Coatl. My opponent will probably flash in the Hull Breacher to trade with it. Yep. Is it better to just Elk the Hull Breacher now so that I can brainstorm? So many good hits. Yeah. I think I like all of this, but I don't think I get to keep all of it. Maybe I do. Maybe the Force of Will isn't good. The Cavern on the other side of the battlefield. Yeah, maybe I'll shuffle away the Force of Will. I will leave it on top, though. And I can make that decision later. Go Skyclave Apparition. I'll take out their cast out. Which gets me Yorion. I don't think I need to take out their Elk. I will go ahead and bounce this. Go with just that. I guess this is the point where I decide whether or not I want Force of Will. I think the game's over next turn, so that doesn't matter. Alright, it came to me anyway. Alright, we're not particularly fast at winning, but we have a lot of inevitability. I am kind of scared about what my opponent's doing, though. So, I know a little bit more about their deck now, and I know that they have, like, Echo of Eons and Hull Breacher and Urzas. That makes things like the Pyroblasts and Red Elemental Blasts a little bit better than normal. Also, my Surgicals are maybe a little bit worse than normal. Because of Echo, things aren't necessarily just going to sit around in the graveyard. Sideboarding for this is actually kind of difficult. My Sylvan libraries look worse than normal because of Hull Breacher. So maybe I junk those and play 2 of those. There is a world now where I do just play Ethersworn Canonist because of the Echo side of the equation, but I kind of want to trim some 1-drops if I'm going to bring in blasts. And I think I actually like the pod. I think I like working towards that combo finish. Let's trim 1 brainstorm. And then folks in the comments will have something to yell at me about. I think my opponent is relatively favored in this match. I think I keep this hand. I board out the Ephemerate. I did. I think just being able to go bird into Skyclave and like have some pod stuff live for later is pretty good. Do I Astrolabe instead? No, I think the mana development matters too much. These are so small by default. So notably, this is on human. It's not on like pirate or merfolk or something. It feels kind of like opponent has a combo hand. They're not playing anything on turn 1 or 2. That's a great pickup. That's very good. So maybe I just play Spell Seeker and then just funnel it into literally any blue card to pitch to Force of Will. This is what I get for cutting the Ephemerate, though. Like, Ephemerate would be pretty hot here. I'd also pick up Surgical, but I think the blue card is too important right now. I'm expecting to see, like, Soul Land into Auriok Salvagers and then an attempt at the combo. Ooh, a Karn. Well. I think I have to just force that. I could try to answer it with Skyclave, but some stuff is going to be uncounterable a little bit later. Ooh, Blast. I like Blast. How do I play this turn? I think I just need to leave Blast open. I think I'm just going to play Birthing Pod attack for 1. I can't activate Birthing Pod at instant speed or anything, but I think that's fine. Leaving out the Blast is so good here. I think I'm not caring about my snow permanent count this game. I'm just going to pick up a volcanic island, I think. Yeah, so I'll hold up Bird this turn, and then start going ham next turn. It's awkward if they, like, just Auriok Salvagers combo me this turn, because that won't interact with Pyroblast. Yep. We can play this one nice and slow. Corridor Monitor, huh? That probably does stuff. I can go... One, two, play Corridor Monitor. I guess I tapped wrong. I should have, like, left the green up. I guess let's just do this in the way that hurts the least, rather than try to get multiple pod activations. One, two, sacrifice Corridor Monitor. Ooh, I can get Renegade Rallier. And that can return Corridor Monitor. Which can untap the Birthing Pod. I don't know if I win or not. Well, let's figure it out. Now I sacrifice Renegade Rallier. And that can get me a Restoration Angel. Which can blink Corridor Monitor. Yes, okay, so I need one more mana. If I had one more mana, I could get Kiki-Jiki right now. But I don't have that, so I'll just untap Birds of Paradise. Alright. No attack with Bird. Hold Pyroblast up, kill opponent next turn. Again, just very dead to Auriok Salvagers specifically. So this is going to be an Urza. It's not going to be an Urza. It is going to be an Urza. It is going to be an Urza. I think I just give them the 1 mana here. And, like, it's so disastrous if they go LED Echo after this, and I try to remove Urza in response. They could flash in a Hull Breacher or something like that here, but Hull Breacher isn't going to beat infinite mana, or infinite dudes. All right. So I Birthing Pod, sacrifice Restoration Angel, get Kiki Jiki. And I do the thing. Do. Takes me approximately 1 second to do each one of these, so I don't really know why my opponent is making me click through it, but whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and toss this into the mix. Look at all these permanents just like bouncing around. Also, like Magic Online, just if you're listening, it's 2020, almost 2021. Can we get realistic shortcuts yet? So that I don't have to click through this. I can just like clearly establish a loop and go from there. Because that would be super cool. I'm going to overkill my opponent a little bit. They want me to flex. I will flex. That seems like enough overkill. Alright, my opponent has conceded to me going to attacks. Alright, so we got there with the Birthing Pod finish against what I thought was going to be a relatively tricky matchup. I'm pretty happy with that. Round 2, we're on the draw. I don't really like this hand. We have 2 lands, but I can't cast these Ice Fang Coatls. And even if I do, I don't know that this hand is actually all that great. I'm going to go ahead and ship this one and try to find something more stable. So if my opponent is on some sort of Delver deck, keeping a double Swords to Plowshares hand is okay. But like this would have to fetch Tundra. I go to 5? Should I go to 5? Yikes. Okay, this is probably fine. I find a fetch land, the Renegade Rallier is pretty great. This Force of Will is going back, and then one of Knight of Autumn or Renegade Rallier is going back. Notably, I don't have green yet. I think I'm going to throw back the Knight of Autumn. Pretty sure my cat is on the counter right now, doing bad cat things, but he gets away with it for right now. Fuck, should have kept the double swords to Plowshare's hand. So this is something that I talked about in my Mulligan Theory video that I posted last week. And that's that sometimes if you have sort of a sketchy hand, you think about what percentage of the metagame it's actually good against. And Delver's pretty popular right now, so maybe the double swords to Plowshare's hand was a keep. Fuck, it would have been so good. So, real talk, I should maybe concede here. Given that I'm me, my opponent is probably going to think I'm Death and Taxes and board for like Yorion D&T rather than this pile of pod stuff. If my opponent has one counter spell, I don't think I can win this game. I think Skyclave gets countered and I probably lose. Like my opponent missed a land drop, so their hand is just gas, and I think they're going to have at least one counter spell. Likely two. I'm going to go ahead and concede early here for some equity. I think I gain more with a concession than I do by trying to play this out. And I feel very happy with that decision. Two deadish draws in a row are going to be rough with that hand. All right. What do we have for the old Delverino? I have a bunch of cards that I can play. So this is the pile of cards that I could play for this matchup. And I probably need to figure out what I am taking out and then board appropriately. I think I like the Pyroblasts and Red Elemental Blasts a lot. They're going to hit the Okos, which are going to be something that I struggle with, and also kill the Delvers, tag cantrips if things are right. Maybe let's not Library. And honestly, maybe I don't even Veil. Like, I know that that's good. Like, I know that that is a good card versus blue decks. But maybe I'm just looking to play to the board and remove creatures most of the time, rather than fight on the stack. Yeah, I think that's my plan. Let's maybe board something like this out. Honestly, do I even like 2-for-1 myself with Force of Wills? Are we just playing fair 1-for-1 Magic with a pile of value ETB stuff that wins the game as things go long? I think that's my plan. Even immune to Lightning Bolt, but I guess the Kiki Jiki won't be. Maybe let's trim one of those and like the Knight of Autumn. The Knight of Autumn can randomly gain life, and then I can blink it though. Maybe that's fine. Maybe I trim one pod. Let's try this. Yep. I don't love that this has a bunch of non-basic lands, but like, fuck, Carpet of Flowers is so good when it resolves. Good job, Carpet of Flowers. Yes, I will. I will use your ability. I will make red mana. The next turn, I have fetch land for Renegade Rallier. JK. You'll fetch eventually. I don't want to play the Tundra. Like, I don't want the Tundra to get wastelanded. It's my better dual land. But I want to be able to Swords to Plowshares freely. I think that's pretty important. Next turn, things can get kind of cute. I can use Carpet of Flowers mana and Taiga to cast this Renegade Rallier. I'll fetch as well. And then, like, Renegade Rallier, return yet another land, and then I can play Oko around more spells. I mean, that's annoying, but, like, Renegade Rallier is here. That helps with some of that. Plus, I still just have Carpet of Flowers in play. Force of Will on Renegade Rallier. Deal. Deal, deal, deal. Like, now this Oko gets to maybe come down next turn. My opponent has no clock in play either. Opponent shuffles. This is annoying, but, like, I have Carpet of Flowers. And that solves so many issues. Oh, the Goose! Goose is pretty good. This Oko is really probably a distraction rather than something that just outright wins the game here. I expect this to get attacked and then get lightning bolted. Yep. Yeah, so my opponent has been wastelanding us, but we just kind of ignore that because Carpet of Flowers is so strong. Yes, and I think I'm just making white mana here. I just need to answer that card. It's a spooky, spooky card. Good turn. I think eating the food there is fine. It's a little worse if I just like naturally draw an Oko a little bit later, but we're playing against Delver. That life matters. Am I just supposed to return the Yorion right now? Maybe I'm supposed to just put a Felidar Guardian into play. It just walls Mongoose. I don't hate it, oddly enough. I think I want to fetch first, see if they have a Stifle. And I probably just want to get a basic land. Maybe a Plains. Alright. So now I can play a Felidar Guardian. I think that's the first time I've seen someone concede to just like a literal 1/4 creature. So now that I know that my opponent has Mongoose, like straight up, I want another Felidar Guardian in my deck. And I almost just want to trim another Birthing Pod because it's going to cost me life to activate such a huge portion of the time. Yeah, I like this. I don't love this hand, but I'm keeping it. It has a lot of mana. And mana means that I'm just not going to flop over and die. I'd like a hand with like Swords of Plowshares and such more, but eh. I have 3 lands, so I don't think I am supposed to play around a Stifle here. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to lead on Bird or Noble Hierarch. Like, it's the question of, like, do I want to have more available colors versus, like, if this just gets bolted, would I rather a Hierarch or a Bird get bolted? I think I'm getting a non-basic land here. So that I can double spell. Green-white. Green-blue. Maybe green-blue. So either one of those would be casting Yorion. Oko. That's quite good. What do I do with it? Do I just Elk Arcanist immediately? I could also play and start Birthing Pod. But it's kind of awkward with the Chain Lightning in the graveyard. Let's see if this resolves. It does. Alright, I promote you to a 3/3. And then I can start looking at, like, Peacekeeper or Birthing Pod or Yorion or something as of next turn. Your own Oko. Notably, this does have Shroud, so they can't just, like, plus on that and then 100% kill my Oko this turn. So if my opponent doesn't have a Lightning Bolt, this Peacekeeper ends up being pretty good. Oh, well, that's just really strong. And I think I Peacekeeper first, see if that gets forced. Because it's more important for me to deal with this Oko than it is to deal with the board. They're thinking. It has resolved. Step 2, see if I can kill Oko. I think it's better to do it now. Doing it now means I can get Force of Negation, but doing it later means that our opponent just concedes the game! Nice. We have a very strange assortment of tools here at our disposal, but it looks like they all bully Delver at least a little bit. Alright, so round 3, we're 2-0 currently. We have a hand with this multicolored monstrosity. I think I keep this hand. We have Force of Will if our opponent's doing something really degenerate, otherwise we have Swords to Plowshares as a starting point, but we're really looking for more land this time around. No! No, sir. Or madam. Or whatever pronoun I'm supposed to use. But absolutely no careful study for you. I'm gonna assume that I don't need snow mana here. Start with Savannah, I think. I do think I moved too quickly. I probably should have pitched the Omnoth instead of the brainstorm, excuse me. When I have the option to stop a graveyard enabler and I'm playing a scout counterspell deck, I usually stop it pretty aggressively. I think I'm just going to hold up Swords to Plowshares rather than removing now. And I'm okay on missing out on 1 point of damage as to not crack this fetch land. If I draw another land and I can just cast Omnoth and then fetch afterwards, that's better for me. The Hogak, so my opponent has 4, 5, 6 of 7 towards Hogak. Which I think I want to let the Hogak hit play, and then Swords to Plowshares it. Now my opponent, almost with certainty, names Swords to Plowshares here. So I think I need to cast this in response. Let's junk the Stitcher's Supplier. I think I'm more afraid of the graveyard being further fueled than I am of the Bloodghast coming back a couple times over the course of the match. Good news is they probably don't hit the first time with the Cabal Therapy. Yeah, notice this pause. Like, they really have to think. All right, Force of Will. That's a reasonable name. Now they're going to attack in and then probably post-combat rip one of these two out of my hand. I don't know which one. Lol, JK. One, two, three, pod. Activate pod, playing 2 life. Untap something else. I'm not sure what I am supposed to do this turn. Like, Birthing Pod and Omnoth both seem like reasonable plays. Omnoth becomes just, like, very good if I hit a fetch land. And, like, maybe I'm supposed to wait on Omnoth for that reason. Or I guess any land, because I could just save this fetch. Or a 2-drop. Do I have anything cool? Just be like an Ice Fang Coatl, which is honestly not bad here. I'm probably cracking this fetch line this turn one way or another, though. I want to get a Snowland here to turn on an Astrolabe later. I think so. Oh, fuck it. Let's play the Omnath. Blue, white, green, red. I've never put this card into play before. So let's put that into play. Opponent can Cabal Therapy away the Birthing Pod if they want. I straight up didn't realize this cantripped. Also. No wonder people are complaining about this in smaller formats like Standard. I've played a deck with this before, but I literally never drew it when I did. Alright, there's a Gravecrawler and a Vengevine. That's Gravecrawler, which means that Hogak can hit play, and Vengevine can swing in. I'm not actually sure how scared I am. Like, I potentially have just an absurd amount of value incoming. I really need a removal spell for the Hogak, and as long as I do that, I think I'm just, like, gonna be okay. My opponent can out Cabal Therapy that Birthing Pod away that they know about. Yep. Alright, regular land. So regular land is 4 life. So, not in the clear yet. Like, I need to kill this Hogak somehow. I can just pile creatures in front of the bus. But like to do something a little better than that if possible. So if I were to pass the turn, it becomes a 4/4. And I can kill something like a Gravecrawler or a Bloodghast. And then I can just trade it with Vengevine next turn. But if I take 12, it becomes harder to just chump black Hogak with something like Icefang Coatl. And then kill it via Death Touch. So because of that, I think I'm going to go ahead and take this double block here. I think the Omnath in play is potentially worth more than the Huntmaster in play. Not 100% sure, though. These recursive graveyard decks do tend to be pretty good against these slower blue decks. Okay. So those things can't block, so I can just attack in safely with Omnath, take 4 damage, and then blink it. And draw a card off the Omnath, maybe hit a land, gain some life. Because it's 5, because Exalted is a thing. I guess technically I'm probably supposed to leave Bird untapped. Yes. A Restoration Angel, that doesn't do me a lot of good right now. But I can create infinite ETB triggers next turn. Felidar Guardian blinks Restoration Angel, blinks Felidar Guardian, blinks Restoration Angel. That doesn't actually get me anywhere, but like something I can do. Alright, Vengevine is not great for me. The haste bodies are definitely spooky. And what's more, I really would like to steal game 1. I think I have a Caracas, 3 Swords to Plowshares that are easy outs. Oko probably gets there, although that one's a little touchier with like 2 Vengevines in existence. I just draw Kiki Jiki? No, I don't have triple red. I could draw Pod. Yeah, I can draw Pod Omnath, and a Kiki Jiki and win that way. I'm gonna block this Gravecaller, they're gonna recast it, and then get the Vengevine back, but I think I'm on combo out or nothing here. If I'm just taking 8 from Hogak. Oh wait, hold on, Pod might not be an out anymore. Because I'm not gonna have enough mana, so I have 5 total mana. So Omnath gives me life. And then I can fetch, which gives me a bunch of mana. Is it 4 mana? So I have 4, 8, 9, 10 total mana. Which can get me Yorion. can cast Yorion for 8 of that mana, leaving me with 2 mana. I can blink these things. I can draw a couple more cards. It's probably better to just Restoration Angel Omnath, though. And just take another card immediately. Hold on. Hold on. Does this get there? I don't know if this gets there. I turn the Hogak into not a Hogak. Now I have 5 creatures. They can have 6 if they do the hasty thing with the other Vengevine. Alright. I'm giving it the old college try. I take losses this turn. For sure. But I might not be dead. And if I can keep the dream alive of ripping Birthing Pod and comboing off, that would be really cool. Everything at me? Ooh. Not everything. Oh, there is fear. Can work with fear. So my opponent is thinking about just attacking in with the creatures that have good attacks on their own. I guess like the big question is, can they actually double spell later? I can just kill both of these. I'd probably lose Restoration Angel and Omnath in process. Maybe that's fine though. Alternatively, I can like chump block 1. And maybe I keep this Omnath and chump block 1. This lets them kill Restoration Angel, and I still have like a live combo kill. Yeah, I think I like that better. This also makes it so that if I just like draw a land, Omnath maybe keeps me alive when combined with Oko. Oh, I have kept Restoration Angel. Fantastic. Did we just win the game? It sure looks like we just won the game. We are doing the thing. I'll pay 2 life. And this. Sacrifice you. Get the Kiki Jiki. Thank you, opponent. Concession very much appreciated there. Alright, we stole game 1, which I'm very happy with. Alright, Peacekeeper, get in here. Surgical, get in here. Lothus, your Graveyard Hate too, albeit slow Graveyard Hate. And I probably play Veil for things like Cabal Therapy and Abrupt Decay. I'm very happy that we managed to get that one. Okay, what am I doing with my life? I think most of the time I am looking to win via the combo finish. I don't know that I'm going to be able to outfare my opponent's deck a lot of the time. Voice seems My life total's under a lot of pressure. I don't think I like Sylvan Library all that much. What is this realistically hitting? A small creature. I guess maybe an Altar of Dementia or a Hedron Crab in some cases. That's fine. Am I supposed to Force of Will? It's not that great against the recursive stuff, but it's very good against Hogak. Would I Force a Will Stitcher Supplier? I wouldn't feel great about it, but I might do it. Because if I just cut these and commit to playing sort of this mid-range game early and a combo game late, this is fine. Otherwise, I could cut, like, the main deck Yorion, Skyclaves, Night of Autumn. Let's try this and see how it feels. I have no experience in the Birthing Pod versus Hogak matchup, so I don't know. I'm going to keep this hand. It's a little more awkward than it looks at a glance, because I'm looking to play both Icefang Coatl and Peacekeeper, and my mana currently doesn't make it so that I can do both. Well, that's not true. I can Icefang off of these 2 lands. I would like to be getting snow-covered lands into play every turn, though, which is what I would meant by what I was saying. Like, I want to turn this into a Death Toucher so it could kill a Hogak. And there's a pretty big difference between, like, having something that kills Hogak on turn 3 versus maybe, like, turn 5. Deal. You're very unlikely to hit. It's probably names Swords of the Plowshares or Force of Will. My opponent definitely thinks I should have Force of Will in my deck. So the jig is up about Peacekeeper. My opponent knows that I have it now. Yep, that's the crab. Alright, there's a Hogak and a Therapy in there. So, notably, the Hedron Crab doesn't work towards casting the Hogak. It fills the graveyard, but... Okay, so there's a Bloodghast in there, and a Bridge from Below, notably. Another thing about the Force of Wills is that my blue count is relatively low. So, like, given this opening hand, like, let's say that I had a Force of Will, I only would have had one option for what I could have pitched to it, and it would have been my best play for turn 2. Again, I don't know that not playing Force is correct, but I only kind of view Hogak as a combo deck. Like, it is, and it isn't. Didn't my opponent have Hogak there? Hedron Crab, sacrifice to Cabal Therapy, name one of my cards, create a zombie, tap zombie, and Gravecrawler or Hogak. Yes, they could have. Maybe they don't think they need to play that quickly. Oh, maybe I should... Shit, maybe I should cycle Icefang Koala right now to see if I draw Surgical Extraction. I've technically done that before my opponent untapped if I was going to do it. Okay. This turn is going to be brutal. Oh god, triple Bridge from Below, I'm dead. So my opponent is going to Cabal Therapy me. Interesting. I don't think I like their sequencing. I think you're supposed to Cabal Therapy me with Bloodghast, sacrifice it, return it with that land. Yeah, okay. So with all of these bridge triggers and Hogak hitting play this turn, I think I can safely concede there. That is brutal. We'll get another game. All right, do I actually want the Force of Will now? I don't really know that I do. Like, countering a Hogak in particular is really good, but a lot of the other things that I could counter, they come back. I don't know. If you are a blue player, sound off in the comments about whether or not I'm supposed to keep these forces. Like, would appreciate the opinions. Like, it feels like something like Swords to Plowshares is just much more impactful in my hand than Force of Will. Eh. It's fine. I don't know if it's fine, but I'm keeping it. So I'm playing an 80 card deck with 2 pieces, I guess 2.5 pieces of Graveyard Hate if we count Clothis. And even then, Surgical is only okay versus Hogak. Like, you cut them off of one piece of Recursion, or you cut them off of the Hogaks themselves. But, like, there's still the rest of the shell there. I meant to go bigger than a lot of the other fair decks in the format, and this deck is meant to just grind through decks like mine. Alright, so there's a Bloodghast in there. So the question is, do I cast Swords of Plowshares this turn? I can cast Swords of Plowshares plus Astrolabe. I think just getting the stupid Elk Machine into play on turn 2 is really good. Like, hopefully let my opponent have a Hogak and then Swords afterwards. Go blue, green, white. I'll make a food. And even if they do Hogak, like, I can just Elk it. My Hogak is not dying in the next turn cycle. This has been a cool game either way. Cobalt Therapy is pretty rough here if my opponent hits the first time. Okay, there is a Gravecrawler in there. Slight nuisance, but not the end of the world. This is fine. This is the sort of start that I can probably just beat in a fair way. Alright, they have just ignored the Oko. Okay, so they just have Hogak. I can just Swords the Plowshares the Hogak. And then just try to make a defensive line against this crap by plussing on this Elk. Kind of like that. I'm gonna start here. I'm fine with tapping Noble Hierarch for Swords to Plowshares later, or I can just tap Astrolabe. Yeah, we'll hold this Brainstorm for a bit. I guess this converts into Snow Mana. I can just do that way. Alright, I have Kiki Jiki. Which I guess means I want to put this red source into play. Alright, things not looking so bad. I don't love this. This plus a bunch of recursive crap is scary for me. I think I need to sacrifice the Hogak here so they can't loop that. And if they sacrifice their board and whiff, that's very good for me. I can also emergency brainstorm into surgical if shit looks like it's gonna get weird. Is this the moment to brainstorm? This might be the moment to just brainstorm, see if I find surgical. God, I found it! So the card that I want to surgical is actually probably Bridge from Below, not Hogak. I think I'm good with this. My opponent just casts Hogak, I'll Elk it. They could Cabal Therapy me here with Bloodghast. Yeah. At that point, I might need to take out Hogak. I think that's better than Bloodghast. My opponent has Bloodghast, Vengevine. They have an Assassin's Trophy that I super care about, otherwise everything else is pretty stock. They have named my one of. Well, I shouldn't say my one of, like I just have one. I have quite a few one ofs. My opponent's play with the Cabal Therapy, in that they should have cast it, was good. Because I didn't get to take Bridge from Below. I think I just win if I get to eat Bridge from Below. Alright. So Altar of Dementia probably needs to become a dude, right? That's just the spookiest thing over there. Yeah, I think that's the case. Ooh, Ephemerate. So I can just Ephemerate my Felidar Guardian, just get a redraw. That taps the Noble Hierarch, but I think that's fine. That's a pod. So the pod doesn't actually win me the game. but it's good. Like, if I stall things out for a little while and my opponent doesn't find Bridge from Below, things are probably good for me. Oh, actually, if the game goes really long, I can, what is it, Karmic Guide? The 5 CMC thing that returns something from my graveyard? Actually, do I just win next turn? So I got that Karmic Guide thing. I return Kiki Jiki. I potted away Felidar Guardian, so it's in the graveyard. I Kiki Jiki, target that thing. It returns Felidar Guardian, which untaps Kiki Jiki. Oh, I just win next turn. Neat. So my opponent would have to put together, like, some crazy Vengevine shit. I'm being attacked by Gravecrawler and Gravecrawler. There's no Vengevines in the grave. Oh, I see. They just want to convert them into more zombies. Yeah, I guess if I'm just winning next turn, I just take this hit. Okay. Yes. All right. 1, 2, 3. And I guess I can pay the mana this time. 4. Birthing Pod. A 2 life and 1 mana. Sacrifice this, which has the upside of killing Bridge from Below. I will get Karmic Guide. Karmic Guide returns Kiki Jiki. Kiki Jiki copies Karmic Guide. Karmic Guide targets Felidar Guardian. Felidar Guardian targets Kiki Jiki. I will save targets. Always yes, always yield. I guess it becomes a new object. All right, and my opponent has conceded. We did the thing. We took down the Hogak Menace, and I believe we are now 3-0. This is fun. So the hand for the next round is a little bit weird. I have 2 cantrips and a bunch of lands, and I don't know whether or not I'm supposed to keep this. I am going to choose to keep it, because with 2 redraws and a bunch of mana, I'm very likely to find something to do. I think I want either an island or a forest here for Icefang Coatl reasons. I'm going to get a forest. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I can use my redundant fetch land. All right, we are playing against Merfolk. So if I can avoid putting an island into play this game, I probably should do that. I don't know that that's going to be possible. But I can get planes off of this. So if I can block those critters, they're not spooky. They are just fish. Oh. Oh no, friend. Plains is fine. We'll play mountain. Goodbye, Ether Vial. Oh man, that time walk was good. I didn't know they had time walk in green white. Your name Nemesis is pretty good here for my opponent. I'm assuming that's what they're doing. You don't get Skyclaved. I continue this don't fetch island game and still have perfect mana. I have 2 planes in the deck, so I can search up a planes and continue to do that. Oh, I also have Taiga. Nice. All right. We are doing stuff. I'm not super good at actually killing that true name Nemesis, but I don't know that I'm going to need to. Next turn, I'll just, like, Skyclave whatever creature they play. And then put Yorion into my hand. And then I assume that, like, Yorion blinking all this bullshit probably wins me the game somehow. Well, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That's a second true name. That doesn't get Skyclaved. I guess I don't want to fetch until my turn. I'm gonna set a stop in my upkeep. I'm gonna go ahead and fetch this Taiga away in my upkeep. Or sorry, I'm going to fetch to get the Taiga in my upkeep. Actually, Savannah might be better. Probably doesn't matter much. Birthing Pod. At 4, I can get Omnoth, or Huntmaster, or Restoration Angel. Without costing myself any life, I can get a Birthing Pod activation this turn. I don't think I have any lines that result in my opponent being dead. I guess I should start by seeing if this resolves, and I think I do need play another land. It's going to be Savannah. That's unfortunate. Old Breacher. Not surprising. Okay, so I can't get Yorion into hand this turn. Man, we did so well at playing around the stuff that Merfolk has to offer. And just, like, a pair of true names is exactly what, like, can dodge everything that I'm doing. fetch land also might not be live anymore. The second. Yorion draws a lot of cards. I don't know if Yorion actually wins me the game. If I play an island, I have a better chance of doing something with Yorion. If I play the island, I am dead on the spot to any lord. That gives island walk, whereas I'm not right now. That's a bit of a difficult situation. Saddest Skyclave ever. I think I am comfortable attacking with one creature here, but not two. I don't want to lose to a bounce spell. That Glasspool Mimic really fucked me up. One true name was fine. The second true name was obnoxious. Okay. Are there any lines that lead me to victory? 7 total mana. I don't have 8 total mana, although I could have 8 total mana, kind of. A Spellseeker for Ephemerate. Ephemerate Knight of Autumn. I can then fetch. But that would mean I'm spending 9 total mana. 3, 6, 7, when I have 8. What about Swords to Plowsharing my own Yorion? Gain 4, go to 5, still be dead. Spellseeker for Brainstorm, try to find Pod. 3, 4 total mana, that leaves me with 4 mana. Can't activate Pod for life. Oh, but I could get another land with Renegade Rallier. Maybe that goes somewhere. I gain 4 life with this. I go to 5. I can blink it a second time with Spellseeker because I get a land back. I have gained 8 total, which puts me to 9. I used... Okay, that might work. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. Okay, I have to Spellseeker first. And then I think this works. Maybe I miscounted, though. Go for Ephemerate. Shit, no, this doesn't work. Because I get that additional mana later when I blink Renegade Rallier. Shit. Alright. So close. Red Elemental Blasts are great. Peacekeeper is good. Carpet is okay. I don't think great, just okay. Because my opponent is going to be playing a bunch of manlands and caverns, but I still think this is going to be good enough to bring in. Let's figure out what I don't want. Don't super like Sylvan Library against decks that can pressure my life total a lot. Voice of Resurgence is eh. I think Skyclave is normally going to be good. It just wasn't great that specific match. I probably trim some pods here. Maybe trim one pod. We need 4 more cuts now. Maybe trim a Rallier. Maybe trim a combo piece. Oh, actually my counter spells are pretty bad. Those should probably go before some of the fair stuff. Yeah, maybe I'll keep that full combo in there. Because, like, really the only card that I want to force a will is True Name Nemesis. And obviously that's a very important card, as we just saw. But I think that as long as it's just one of them, I can realistically race and outvalue it. This hand is too risky. If I don't hit that second land, I'm in so much trouble. This hand is fine. Pitch the Restoration Angel. My mana's a little awkward, but it'll probably work itself out. I can't get both Mountain and Plains. That's not worth countering. I know my opponent has Swords of Plowshares. Or, sorry, True Name Nemesis. So, want to hold up Reb for that. I think I'm just going to make my land drop and pass the turn. I'm actually very happy with this as a draw. I'm just going to take a hit for 2. Let's take that out. Now, there is a world where I just Swords to Plowshares this here, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I'd rather snag the Mutavault with it if possible. Ooh, do I just play that? No. No, I think I Oko here. So this needs to be either blue or green. What would I be more worried about being wastelanded off of? Green, because Huntmaster is like a follow-up play. In the immediate future. There is a world where I am just supposed to, like, cast Huntmaster so that I can ephemerate it the following turn. But if I rip any land, I can do that anyway. Gonna let the Oko take the hit. Ooh. Now I will begrudgingly Swords to Plowshares that. It's not the play that I want, but I think my mana is pretty taxed at this point. Is this fetching a dual land for Ephemerate? Fetch... Do it Tundra? Do it Tundra. Yeah, then I'm good with that. I should play this. Daze is a card that exists in this format. There is a world where I just want to Ephemerate right here, but it plays into Dismember. I do have this tropical island. Oh god, is the Dismember happening? I feel like a fucking genius. Holy shit. Like, holy shit, the punish here is so real. I have a lot of power. Alright, my opponent is just playing mono true name deck, which is a little annoying. Hello, Birthing Pod. So Birthing Pod can get Karmic Guide, which can just return the Huntmaster immediately. And then, is it 5 on that? It is 5 on that. So I could pay the Echo next turn. Then draw any land. So it's a question of, like, is 2 life for a token worth it? Or I can just convert a token that I have into a 1-drop and go up the chain that way. That's actually probably better. Let's sacrifice one of these. Guess I'll just take a Noble Hierarch. And I can call that good. I don't think I need to be taking any suicide attacks in right now. This Birthing Pod should probably win me the game in a couple of turns. My opponent getting Island Walk is, like, the scariest thing right now. But I'm very happy that they're just sitting back. My opponent seems dead now. So I can pod. I can do this without casting a spell. I can pod Noble Hierarch into the 2-drop thing that untaps. And then I can untap pod, and then pod Huntmaster into Kiki Jiki. And unless my opponent has another Dismember or Echoing Truth, they die on the spot. I like it. I could actually just pay life both times, though, for these pod activations. Because then I have 1, 2, and then I can still cast the Faladar Guardian this turn if something goes wrong. I guess I want to cast the Faladar Guardian first, don't I? And just, like, blank the Huntmaster for value. And now I Birthing Pod. I sacrifice... Now I'll sacrifice Huntmaster? Maybe it's right to sacrifice Faladar Guardian. Probably right to sacrifice Faladar Guardian. Alright, we have done the thing. Always yes. Why is this not working? Do I have to target the original here? Is it the original that has always yes? Always yes. Yes. Oh, I see. It's the new instance that has a trigger. Can I really not skip through this? What about with this one? Save targets. Always yield. This one just magically works better. Okay. Let's use this one. I'll make enough to overkill my opponent by quite a bit. And then send them all in. I don't know what shenanigans I have to play around, but I imagine that I've just got it here. Alright, we're overkilling by more than 10 at this point. I'll attack with all creatures except that Kiki Jiki. Send them on in. See what happens. And we get there. I think sideboarding is fine. Just go ahead and resubmit as is. I am down a good bit on clock here. Spent a lot of time thinking to see if I had any outs in game one when I should have just conceded. And this hand is fine. I will be keeping it. I probably want to fetch snowlands from early on here. No, I don't have anything to do with that mana. It's gonna F6 my opponent's turns. That's fine. Yes, I'll add blue this turn. I'll use to cast an Ice Fang Coatl. Get a plains here. I'm going to try to avoid playing islands for a few turns if I can. I think I can because of my Carpet of Flowers, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm fine making this trade. Oko's cool. Let's just slam that into play. So I'm pretty good against fair stuff that my opponent can do. Like, because Skyclave can just take out most non-true name threats. Lol. I think I need to play this now. I think this is my bait spell, and Peacekeeper is the card that actually matters. I missed a point of damage there. That's fine. Alright, let's always yield to this. Use Carpet of Flowers ability. Yes, white. Let's cast a Skyclave Apparition. Place this on the stack. No other targets. Okay. That's fine. Play a land. Activate Birthing Pod. Da-da-da. Sacrifice this. Yeah. Get a 4-drop. I'll just pick up a Restoration Angel and blink this snake. Yes. Alright, so my opponent does have a combo finish of their own, so they can theoretically win through Peacekeeper. That's good to know. So let's go ahead. Ottaway, Ice Fang, Coatl. That can pod into... I guess Renegade Rallier is fine. That can just get me an Ice Fang, Coatl. I play the Monitor. That untaps the Birthing Pod. I go ahead and activate Birthing Pod. Sacrifice the Renegade Rally. Oh shit, I just had a kill there. If I sacrifice the Restoration Angel instead. That's fine, this is gonna work out. So I'll turn this into a Restoration Angel, which blinks the Monitor. Yes, I will use that ability. This comes into play. I untap the Birthing Pod. I will activate Birthing Pod. Oh, I have my own Peacekeeper to think about. Shit. I'll sacrifice that next turn, I guess. Yeah, I need to sacrifice that next turn. Alright, I didn't quite think about this enough. That's fine. Go ahead and just get a Knight of Autumn here. And gain 4 life. And then I can win next turn. Oh, actually, I might have been able to win there. No, I need 1 more mana to win there. I will make green. We'll use the green. We'll sacrifice this. We'll get Kiki Jiki. Tap this. Target the Monitor. And I believe I have the concession there. I have the Moto lag, which makes me think I do. Woo! Woo pod! 4-0. Is this deck actually good? Because we're really, really good as these games go long. Final round. Here we go. I am on the play. I will keep this hand. While not overly exciting, I think it is pretty strong. The big question is, do we lead on the Astrolabe or do we lead on the Noble Hierarch? If I rip a land, I really want to lead on the Noble Hierarch so that I can play turn 2 Oko. So I think I'm going to go ahead and grab basic snow-covered land here and cast Noble Hierarch. Oko with force backup is a pretty good place to be. If I miss on the land, this hand gets awkward. My Noble Hierarch gets like lightning bolted or something. It's also awkward. Delver resolves. Oh, fuck, I missed on the land. I want to play Astrolabe around Daze, try to hit a land, and then use that to cast Ice Fang. Nice. I think I'm going to go ahead and fetch around a Stifle. And I don't think I play Coatl now. I don't think I'll be willing to Force of Will pitch Oko to protect an Ice Fang. It's going to be one of those things that I would like to happen. If it doesn't happen, so be it. But I think something like a Dreadhorde Arcanist is really scary here. My opponent bolts, though. I might think about it. Oh my god, am I just getting away with, like, murder here? I just kill that little insect and... Really? That's interesting. I think I just want to brainstorm, find any land, and play Renegade Rallier. Yeah, beautiful. Karmic Guide goes back in the deck, and I think Force of Will goes back in the deck. Oh, I guess I redraw one of these, huh? Oh, I don't want this Karmic Guide anytime soon. I want a Plains here. I probably want to fetch off of this dual land. Fetch off this fetch land. So Oko just gets like Spell Pierced or something this turn, so I'm just going to play Renegade Rallier. That requires either Daze or Force of Will. Do I force back? Like, I can force pitch Ice Fang and get a new Ice Fang back. I think that's actually worth it. Well, shit. I mean, I'm the one who has an Oko and a Yorion left. And my opponent is playing a Delver deck. I'm good with current board. Alright, that's a good top deck. Might just be going to aggressive town immediately and just plussing on the Astrolabe that I have. Don't have access to red yet, but that doesn't matter for very many cards. As long as my opponent doesn't really pull ahead on cards significantly. Like, I am ahead on life total. I am ahead on resources as a whole. Ooh. Karmic Guide for Renegade Rallier for Ice Fang Coatl is, like, sick value. I also think I'm at the point where Wasteland doesn't super matter anymore. And I'll get Tundra here. Ooh, I guess I can also just like Oko Plus on my Karmic Guide to make it lose all its abilities too. Actually, maybe that's not true. Doesn't matter. I don't need to find out. We just like snowballed real hard with that Karmic Guide. Like that's just a disgusting amount of value on not an empty board, but a relatively light board. All right, so what do we have for the old Delver deck? I like Peacekeeper. I like Pyroblast. I like Carpet. I like Clothis. I think I didn't board Veil last time. I think I went Sylvan Library out. I think I trimmed Birthing Pods and Force a Will. Then I need one more. Was it Voice of Resurgence? Voice of Resurgence can be really cool. I might have trimmed one combo piece last time around. I'm looking at like Corridor Monitor, Night of Autumn, Eternal Weakness, Eternal Witness, blah. Maybe it is Voice of Resurgence. Although I don't know. Like, that's kind of a must counter thing, or your counter spells become significantly worse later. This does get a token when it dies, right? Maybe I keep that. X4? Maybe I just board out. God, this is also an X4? That's insane. Alright, let's trim one Falador Guardian on the draw. And then I can reevaluate when I'm on the play if I need to. I choose Yorion. I will keep this hand. Oh shit, it's good. The question is, like, do I play Carpet of Flowers on turn 1 or Astrolabe on turn 1? Carpet of Flowers has such huge, huge upside if it resolves on turn 1. Very happy to see my opponent start with a Ponder. I think a lot of the hands where they beat me are the hands where they just play an early threat and I don't do anything. I'm going to jam the Carpet. I either get a 2-for-1 or get a lot of tempo here. That's not going to make snow mana. I can just pass the turn. Now, Dreadhorde Arcanus is the scariest thing that my opponent can have. That's going to resolve, but I'll just try to Ice Fang Coatl it in combat. I think. I will use this ability. Yes, I get 2 mana out of it. Let's, I guess, make it white. I can go fetch. Just get like a snow-covered island here. Then use green. I will Renegade Rallier. And that gets me a Prismatic Vista. Shit, do I have a second snow-covered forest? Yet I don't. That's okay. I guess that means I just main phase Astrolabe. Oh, I just found Kiki Jiki. That's cool. Alright, that's good enough for a turn. My opponent can Lightning Bolt Renegade Rallier and then crash in with Dreadhorde Arcanist to cantrip. That's okay. I have a lot of stuff going on. And my endgame is going to be much stronger than their endgame. Like, by a lot. I mean, happy to see another island. Welcome, island. Unhappy to see Sylvan Library from my opponent. Yes, I will use this ability. I guess let's make green. I would theoretically like to hit a land drop this turn. I could just like... Well, I guess I could... Well, I still can just jam Yorion. But I think that's what I do later. That's nuts. Let's go ahead and try to do this now. Nice, it just works. I have 3 mana available. I can get another island and cast both Bird and Ice Fang. I think I'm okay with that. And then Pod can come later. Yorion followed by like actual companion Yorion is probably going to be backbreaking. Holy shit. And we're going! I get 3 more mana. This is disgusting. We'll get green out of this. Gem a Birthing Pod. And everything just resolved. We probably win next turn. I mean, I know that I can theoretically win. Okay, you have an Oko. I get 3 mana out of this. I think I'll make red with 1. And blue with another. So let's pod this away. Yeah, do I even just try to combo? I don't even know that I tried to combo this turn. Like, I can just take that Oko out of play. Yes! Yes! Delicious, delicious 5-0 action. You love to see it. This deck was really strong. The matches were glacially slow. Part of that was my inexperience, but these snow style decks take a long time to win. But I enjoyed playing this a lot, which is not usually true for these like Simic plus a few extra colors mush piles. If you made it this far in the video, please consider liking, leaving a comment, subscribing if you're not already subscribed. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sure not many of you actually made it this far because I'm sure this league was like 3+ hours long. It was a monster. And if you're really enjoying, donation information to get one of your decks on the YouTube channel or stream is below. Have a great rest of the day, folks, and happy holidays. Happy New Year. Here's to 2021, bringing more broken Magic cards. Wait, hold on. Wait, what was I saying? Oh no.